Good morning, guys. So this morning I was going to do a video on how I make my coffee because I get questions about that all the time, and like the tools that I use. And then I pulled this up and I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to focus. So let me talk about what happened, a little bit about what happened. So yesterday we checked the bees. I do have an allergy to bees, and this was a product of stupidity. I freaked out because I am allergic to them. And long story short, I was sitting in the truck. Josh was suited up and he was doing some stuff to the bees, and I was not suited up in the truck. I was on the truck sitting there with Atticus. Josh and Augustus were suited up, and he asked me to roll the window down, and he had swarms of bees around him, but he asked me to roll the window down to do something for him. And I rolled it down, and of course, you know what happened. Like 10 bees flew in, and I panicked. If I wouldn't have panicked, it would have probably been fine. But I panicked, and instead of just rolling the window up and trying to take care of the bees that were in the truck with us, I jumped out of the truck because they immediately started flying at me in the truck, and so my brain said closed space, so I jumped out of the truck. When I jumped out of the truck, you can imagine the swarm of bees that was out there fired up. We were maybe 10 feet from the hive, and they immediately came after me. Now, this right here is not a product of 50 bee stings. I didn't even get stung anywhere in this vicinity. I got stung right up here. And this is what happened. So it is a product of stupidity. It wasn't like I was completely suited up and the bees are just like coming at me and they got me. I panicked. So I came up to the house. When bees get me, they get caught all up in my hair. Now I had my hair up, but so imagine my hair being up in a ponytail, so it would have been back like this. And they immediately just got right there. So this is a bee sting here. And when I was going out of the house to go back out there to check on everybody, one got me as I was walking out of the house right here. So I've got 2 bee stings right here. Couldn't even touch that last night, so it's come a long way. And anyways, that's the product of it. So I do have a bee allergy. I do have an EpiPen. I have all that. Monitored my breathing and all that, and it was fine. And then got stung when we were working bees, and I had gloves on. They stung me through my gloves, and you can't even see those anymore. So used to in the past, when I would get stung, like especially in my hands or my feet, if I got stung in my feet, I couldn't walk for days because they'd swell up. If I got stung in my hands, I couldn't use them. But I got stung right here on this knuckle. I got stung right here. And I got stung right here. And this one's the worst. It actually hurt the worst too. So I was talking to my dad earlier, and I think it's just the degree of how they get you. So when this one happened, I was actually in the middle of a hive. We were setting some beetle traps, which is just little plastic traps, and you put oil in them for the beetles to drown in, and you put some apple cider vinegar in the middle as the bait, and then they come to the apple cider vinegar, and then they drowned in the vinegar. Anyways, I was setting one of those hive beetle traps, and I just happened to like bend my wrist down. Like I said, I was fully gloved and had on my whole suit on and everything. It was after this had happened, and this hadn't even set in yet. Those were just sore. But I bent it, and I guess I just got the bee caught right in there, and it stung me. And it was excruciating pain. I had to walk away from the hive then because I was in so much pain. So I guess it just depends on how you get how it gets you. So that's just swollen up a little bit there. But this is what's the worst. And I've not had a reaction this bad before. I've gotten stung in my lip before, and my lip swelled up. But as far as this goes, this is big, pretty bad. It's just wild that I got stung up here, and it made its way all the way down and settled right here. But anyways, it's just an update on why I look like this. Kind of a joke that I look like Rocky Balboa. My family's been kind of teasing me about it in that kind of way. but they mean well in the sense of they don't ever want me to do bees again. But this was a reaction of a product of my own stupidity. And as far as this goes, at this time, there's already more heavy duty gloves on the way and a whole brand new bee suit on the way, because we've just got to make sure that we're, you know, avoiding this at all cost. But at the end of the day, this was my fault. And even, I mean, I didn't even have a bee suit on. And I don't know, a lot of conversation about, you know, new rules when we're working the bees as far as everything goes. Even if you're in the truck, you're going to be suited up in case you've got to jump out to help do something real quick, and that kind of stuff. And it's super smart. If the kids are with us, they have their own bee suits. They're suited up as well. If it's not a good idea for them to be with us, if we're doing something a little intense, then they're not with us. They stay with somebody. But as far as Atticus goes, he had stayed in the truck. He was completely fine. None of them messed with him. If I would have stayed in the truck, I probably would have been fine as well. I just panicked. And this is what happened when I panicked. It's also like my ear itches and stuff, so that's why I keep messing with my ear. All right, so we're going to do just a few things around here. The boys are with Pawpaw this morning after chores. They just hung out with him for a little bit, so they'll be back in a little bit. And we're just gonna kind of take it easy today, and hopefully I can get the swelling down some. Praise God that my hands are not bad. I was really nervous about that because we process chickens tomorrow, and these guys are the main show, and so that's a huge blessing to God for that. He knew it was coming, and I am thankful that even though I did get stung, that it is not swollen. I can use them, and hopefully this goes down, and it's a huge lesson learned. And you know, we'll just go from there. I don't know. It's one of those things. I do have an EpiPen, guys. I don't know if I've mentioned that. Like I said, as I've gotten older, the reactions have gotten worse when I get stung by bees. Went and got all that tested. It was thrown out there that I could do bee venom therapy. I actually reached out to my allergist and was like, yes, I do want to do that. You know, I'm going to continue doing bees. I would love to do the bee venom therapy. And they were like, we don't know if insurance is going to cover it. They were supposed to look into it. Long story short, I never heard back from them. It's just something that's kind of fell through the cracks. So that is an option, and it's probably something that I'll look more into seriously about. Probably even go to a different allergist that actually gives two hoots and follows through with their job. But other than that, that's kind of where we are. And I kind of have taken more of a backseat to beekeeping this year. Josh has been a lot more hands-on with them, and I kind of just take a backseat, and I'm like, hey, I'm here if you need me. And when it comes to like harvesting and stuff, I'll obviously be there because it's more hands-on. But as far as checking them and stuff, I've been laid back, and so more hands-off. And so that's why I was sitting in the truck, because it was just going to be checking the hives and kind of setting those beetle traps, which usually isn't that big of a deal. But then just like that, you know, it changed drastically. So I don't know if I don't think I got stung right there. I got a spot right there. Anyways, so I may have gotten stung right there and they just didn't get me. Maybe those outweighed. I don't know, your adrenaline's going. So potentially 3 stings in my head because it is swelled up right there. And maybe that's why this is. Okay. We're going to make some coffee this morning.